So, hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to our live webinar on Expand Your Customer Base, Reseller Partnership Opportunities with Constructor Schools. I'm Denise Duimic, Partner Business Manager for Constructor for Schools, and I'll be your moderator through today's session. And whether you're an e-learning company, a distributor, reseller in the EdTech space, or even wish to be a referral, this webinar is for you to provide you also valuable insights for special education need solutions and for basic skills in math and literacy. I'd love to extend my warm welcome to everyone, and as well to our esteemed speakers, Christian Fogeli, our CEO and founder, Daniel Mulder, CEO and founder of Bright Skills, which we will meet very soon. So let's dive into the agenda. We will have presentation from Christian, who will share more about Constructor for Schools, then as well of Daniel, our esteemed partner, sharing his experiences in the Netherlands. Finally, we will have a question and answer session, so please feel free to ask questions in the social media channels and here in YouTube, and we will make sure to answer them by the end of the presentation and final remarks. So I'll proceed to get our first speaker, and Christian Fogeli. Hello, Christian.
Hi there. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for joining today's webinar. Let me quickly introduce myself, and by introducing myself, also introducing kind of Constructor for Schools. I've been working on Constructor for Schools myself for more than 20 years, or almost 20 years actually. The origin is that my professor at EdTech, my alma mater, started orthograph for his son that was or is dyslexic. And that was the very private motivation to start the Constructor for Schools project. And it evolved from this individual project for a specific son to a first prototype that we used in a study together with the University of Zurich. And we're really able to show in a scientific proof that the kids reduced the number of mistakes by 32% when they actually used this application that we invented. And that was the reason to actually create a spin-off from my university, which then also launched into math products and the project, or the product Calcularis, which is an application to train math for kids with dyscalculia in particular, but also generally for math learning, and also for Calcularis we showed 2013. So more than 10 years ago, that's efficient for kids to practice with it. I'll get back to these results and the scientific studies later. And now overall, more than 200,000 students have used our applications around the globe, mostly in Switzerland, but also in the Netherlands, as Daniel will explain. And there's 20 years of research and multiple awards behind our applications. Overall, we strive to enable each child to obtain writing, reading, and math skills, not as a purpose on its own, but actually to unlock their full potential and to unlock their full potential for life, but also for career. And this potential can be inhibited by dyslexia or dyscalculia. Dyslexia is slow, error-prone reading and writing. It affects about 8% of the population globally. In English-speaking areas, actually almost up to 15%, because English phonology, English spelling is really regular. I made a couple of examples of what people might struggle with if they're dyslexic. Dyscalculia is sometimes also called dyslexia for math. So it's kind of similar. It's slow, error-prone math resolving, and it also affects about 6% of the population. And you see some of the difficulties that people with dyscalculia might have. They have a bad feeling. They cannot just immediately tell, oh, $20 bill is enough to pay for something that costs $19.19, or they make typical mistakes calculating, etc. In general, slow and error-prone math resolving. These two difficulties jeopardized as a random fact to prove that this is really jeopardizing life also. 1/3 of all prison inmates, for example, in the United States are dyslexic. So if you're dyslexic, the probability of becoming a prison inmate is twice as high as for the general population. So really, it's really a strain on you also as a family that you overcome these difficulties because you have this unfortunately rather bad outlook if you're affected by such difficulties. Not only these difficulties affecting this 8 or 6% of the people, there's also a wider range of roughly 25% of the learners that are struggling, which don't exhibit as grave as difficulties as kids with learning difficulties, but also have a clearly below average reading, writing, and math performance. Now, the challenge for schools is that it's really quite difficult to help these children. On the one hand, there's hardly any efficient material available, and also professionals that are at schools, they have relatively little time to support these children. If at all, there are teachers, because there's also a teacher shortage globally, and especially a shortage of qualified special education needs teachers that affects almost all education systems around the globe, make it really hard to support these children. In particular also because the kids have hardly any opportunities to practice autonomously or independently. They're also depending on this one-on-one situation and this one-on-one availability of special education needs teachers, which is seldom or hardly possible. And in particular for math, reading and writing, not having enough time to practice is really a big difficulty, big problem, because it's practice that makes permanent for these basic everyday skills. Like, you cannot become a proficient piano artist that can play almost with closed eyes without automation, without practicing regularly. And if this regular training is hard to organize, then positively formulated, there's less progress than everybody would help for. Now, unfortunately, special education needs are on the rise around the globe. There's a study or several studies, for example, the one here from the University of Southern California, showing that the amount of people, of children, students enrolled in special education needs almost doubled since the mid-70s, or this chart by the Pew Research Center shows just over the last 20 years, there's 1 million more kids enrolled in SEN courses in the United States than there was before. This is also Summer Home Education Week that again repeats that the number of students in special education needs has doubled in the past 45 years. So generally around the globe, this is a worldwide trend that we observe this growth of education needs. On the one hand, the rates of learning difficulties are constant. So that could also say it should be constant, but overall the population growth and there's more screening done. So kids are also, fortunately detected more often as having difficulties. And in general, there's also more awareness for the importance of education and for those difficulties. So that's a good thing also that there are more kids diagnosed with special education needs, but it's also something that has to be handled by the system. So it's a growing market with a real pain, both privately for parents and children, but also institutionally for the schools who should help these children overcome their difficulties. Now, I'm not pretending that Constructor for schools will solve all of these problems, but with our applications, you can really provide effective support. We offer innovative evidence-based learning software for literacy and for math. And as I quickly showed in the story of myself and the products and the company, we were established back in 2007, and since then offer this innovative software. And we base it on neuroscientific research on how the brain acquires these basic skills. And we add autonomous training and algorithms that allow visualization automatically and allow autonomous training so that these applications can be used with learning difficulties kids in the classroom, but also in MTSS settings or in therapy settings. We put more than 15 years of research in AI behind it, and our schools here in Switzerland and also with Daniel, they renew their licenses at 95%. So we have a very high retention rate. So not just, on the right-hand side here, I showed the big gains that we showed for kids in peer-reviewed studies. So not just the scientific proof, it's really good for our applications and for the progress that the kids make. Also, our schools and our partners have a high success in retaining their customers. In the center of it, there is the student-centric learning, which allows the kids to reach their goals in less time by individually adapting to every learner. One application for math, or the application for math, I should say, is Calcularis. It in particular trains number representation, because that's something the brain has to automate and often fails to automate the kids with dyscalculia. It trains transcoding, so going between spoken, written, Arabic, and cardinal representation of numbers. And it generally strengthens the number line, because that's the mental tool that makes arithmetics and calculations easier for us. It's been used efficiently since 2013 by more than 100,000 students. And in 4 scientific studies by now, we showed that on the one hand, kids really significantly improve after only 3 months of training. They solve 29% of addition tasks correctly, 29% more correctly, almost 50% in subtraction. And they also have a better and a more accurate understanding of the number line. And finally, we also showed that they can reduce anxiety towards math, which is really important because anxiety blocks learning. Calcularis is available in a multitude of languages, a dozen at least, and there's a language added almost every half year. Let me quickly give you an impression of what Calcularis looks like.
Too many learners, unfortunately, do not become proficient at maths. Thus, they might struggle through their entire education. Calcularis' novel approach allows the brain to automate number processing and gain maths fluency. It thus helps all learners to advance in the standard curriculum. Based on neuroscience, Calcularis uses colors, shapes, animations, and elaborate number line presentations to stimulate brain activity. Under the hood, Calcularis employs advanced data analytics to constantly adapt to each user's abilities and automatically loads the best suitable tasks. Scientific studies showed that learners solve 45% more tasks correctly after only 3 months of practice. As a reward for their hard work and the goals achieved, children can have fun buying animals and feeding them. Get Calcularis through our webshop today.
Our literacy applications are split into 2 applications. On the one hand, we have Grafari Phonics, with which you can kickstart writing. So it introduces children, for example, to phone grapheme mapping and to regular writing. And afterwards, you can continue practicing literacy skills with Grafari Orthograph, which introduces spelling. And Orthograph uses a multisensory approach with colors, shapes, structures, and tones that on the one hand allow to facilitate the matching of the spoken to the written language, and on the other hand also allows the brain to detect orthographic and spelling patterns. Again, we validated in user studies that children really make big progress, and after 3 months of practicing with Grafari can reduce the number of writing errors by 32%. We also, for Grafari Orthograph, offer several adaptations to different languages and can also add more of those languages. Again, let me quickly give you an impression of what orthograph looks like.
To be able to read and write fluently, learners must internalize that the spelling of words can be concluded from the way they are pronounced, mostly. Think of the spoken word bring, which can be mapped to the letter sequence B-R-I-N-G. This is immediately apparent to practice readers and writers because their brains have automated this process. However, some learners find this mapping very difficult. Some cannot manage it at all. Orthograph helps the brain to map the spoken versions of words onto their written forms. Instead of simply requiring the brain to link black letters with sounds, it allows the brain to learn using colours, shapes, 3D structures, and sounds. Studies have shown that this integration of multiple senses enables learners to achieve an average improvement of more than 30% over a period of only 3 months. We wish you a lot of success.
So you now got a quick impression of what the applications look on the front with their multisensory learning addressing these different brain elements or brain cues. At the back, we offer an individualized adaptation to each learner's need. And I put a schematic presentation here of how this works. In general, all the content that we offer is categorized as content for predecessor skills, content for basic skills, and content for extended requirements. And depending on how a child or a learner behaves in the system can itself detect whether it's a child that might be gifted or might even be a child that is struggling with learning difficulties, and automatically can adjust the content it learns. So a gifted child will be taken through more of the extended requirement content or extended content will ultimately be taken to the learning goals. A child with learning difficulties will do more of the predecessor skills, maybe also go back to previous content from maybe even last year or even 2 years ago if necessary, before it will be taken automatically also to the conclusion of the learning goals of the current content block. So we have this immunization that happens automatically by the systems and thus allows each learner to progress at its own speed. And at the same time, it also reduces the educator workload and frees up educator time because they don't have to plan each and every session of learning. The sessions adapt themselves automatically. And this allows for various scenarios of how you could use it. Let me just highlight one scenario for therapists that uses it outside of school, and then one how it's fit into MTSS and inclusion. So one very typical process is that if we assume that the therapist has one lesson where he or she actually meets with the child, then a possible process is that at the first meeting, the therapist introduces a child, maybe the parents, to the tool, has a first joint practice session, and then allows the child or enables the child to practice at home by handing over a parent letter. And then after a first week, they practice again together in this weekly session, and the therapist gives a couple of remarks on how to use the tools. But then it's mostly the child practicing at home independently or autonomously, and with a simple coaching application that we offer to educators. The therapist can then see after maybe 4, 8, and 12 weeks how the child progresses. I can talk about the progress with the child, and if necessary, also address an issue that he or she discovers from training in the one-on-one situation during the weekly lesson. But in general, it's an independent training that after a break of 12 weeks, of this 12-week intervention schedule can also be repeated. There's an option to do this in a group setting. So if you're teaching a group in your therapy lesson, you could do a half of the hour or half the lesson with half of the group, while the other, for example, practices with the applications, and then you switch. But overall, again, it's autonomous training by the students themselves, by the learners themselves. So in this schedule of 12 weeks of practice, you will get 12 hours of efficient individualized training for each child with a minimal intervention or minimal time consumption of you as a therapist. Another use case is in inclusion or in MTSS settings, so in multi-tiered systems of support, where, for example, in the first tier, all the students practice with calcularis, to stay with the math example. All students profit from the automation that the brain gains from using calcularis, and the teachers just check the learning times, whether the kids maybe did that once or twice per week session that they are arranged or discussed as a group, as an entire class. And then the children who are at risk, typically in MTSS, that will be a tier 2 group, they maybe increase the number of times they practice to 3 times per week. And if really a child is diagnosed with dyslexia, dyscalculia, they might actually go up and use it the 4th time per week, maybe as homework, maybe in after school settings. And thus they got more practice with the applications than the kids that have no difficulties. And the programs individually ask these children with difficulties more of this predecessor skill content that we have classified as this for our internal autonomous adaptation. So this is how we can help schools succeed. We can also help you succeed as our partners. We are well aware of that all education is local. So we know that you're locally embedding as a partner in your education system is crucial to the success of our applications, to your success, and also to the success of your users and your customers. And to support this, we offer dedicated contact persons for you. For example, Denise, hosting our webinar today. We here in Zurich have a top product and engineering team to support you and also to make local adaptation if necessary. And we can also bring the research context that we have around the globe to the table and adjust also, if necessary, some of the content with your local needs. Also in our team here in Zurich, we have pedagogues, former teachers, who can support you with pedagogical questions. And finally, we also ourselves here out of Zurich serve the Swiss market. And so we serve our own customers directly. And in this respect, we're also very mission-oriented to really stay on focus to support our customers. And that's the main goal in the end, that the children learn and improve their skills, because that's what, on the one hand, is most important, of course, for children, but will also drive up retention from our customers. Our program is relatively simple for you as resellers or as referral partners, if you prefer to be a referral partner. We are organized by offering you a reseller agreement at a fixed price for you, and then a free pricing towards your customers. So what we only fix is the price between us, and you are free to define your own prices towards your customers. And on the right-hand side, you see the suggested price structure at the moment, which we can also redefine with you depending on your local needs and the capacity of local market. But that's generally the price system that we imagine, and your market share or your price will be roughly 1/3 of this official external prices. We offer onboarding for you, and once you're onboarded, you have full authority over the licenses, can create new licenses, can create new customers, can manage them, so you have full authority over them and can be in direct contact with your customers. We would ask you to support quarterly reports coupled with meeting us every quarter, or at least meeting a partner business manager like Denise. And then we establish annual partner meetings, so we would also like to meet you physically once a year. And finally, we make all our marketing resources freely available to you in electronic form, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but can also use the material that has proven to be efficient for us in Switzerland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. So next up, I'm truly pleased to have Daniel Moeller with us today, the CEO and founder of Bright Skills, with whom I had truly the privilege to work in nearly last 2 years. So Daniel, welcome.
Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Christian.
Daniel, also thank you from my side for joining today, right? Thank you.
Of course. You're welcome. I'd like to start with a small apology because I'm a little bit under the weather, so my voice can be a little bit monotone for this presentation. But let's start with a short introduction. My name is Daniel Mulder from the Netherlands. My background is actually in business administration, economics. After my graduation, I worked mostly in finance, VC, slowly moving to supervising digital transformation projects. And in that role, 12 years ago, I guess, 12 years, I came into contact with an EdTech company, which had a lot of potential in my view. So I acquired that company, and a couple of years later, I supplanted that with Bright Skills branding label. So what is Bright Skills? Bright Skills provides tools of educational services to learn basic skills to K-12 students in the Netherlands and the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. We have an extra focus on care levels. So like Christian also mentioned, the students with learning difficulties, for instance, dyscalculia or dyslexia. We use a mix of in-house developed learning tools. So we also develop our own products and partnership products, because sometimes partnership products are well developed and already have a really strong USP. So it makes more sense to use those. We, besides the tools or the products for the K-12 students, for the schools, we also provide training, to educational professionals, and we provide also remedial teaching guidance projects for students. So we provide the experts, to the special educational needs experts, to help children with learning difficulties in the class or outside class. Currently, we serve more than 1,000 schools in the Netherlands and the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. Yes. So, and what framework do we operate here in the Netherlands? Could differ depending, of course, on your country, what kind of education system you have. In the Netherlands, we basically you have, after kindergarten, you have elementary school from approximately 4 years old until 12. And after elementary schools, the children have a test, and after that, they will choose to do more vocational training or preparing for the university degree or something in between. But the main point is that during elementary schools, the system is such that it has to be as inclusive as possible. So children has to be helped within the regular system. It has to be inclusive, which that's why we also focus as Bright Skills mostly on primary education students, because the need for tools to help children with learning difficulties is the highest. Also, historically, we have the largest network in elementary education, so that probably helps as well. But it also makes more sense from a strategic point of view. In the Netherlands, actually, children are categorized in 5 care levels. I omitted the 5th one, but it's basically a more extreme version of the 4th. First, you have the support level. The first support level, obviously, the largest group. Those are the children who gets instruction in the classroom. Can use that. They can deviate a little bit from the norm, but not in the extreme amount. Then, if children lag a little bit behind from the norm, they will have a label. Fortunately, they have a label, but they get labeled support level 2, and they will get some additional guidance within the classroom. So they will have a separate in the classroom. Then they form a separate group and get extra instruction on that particular topic. Even when the child still lags behind, the student still lags behind, they will get labeled support level 3, and they really get extra intervention or extra support outside the classroom as well, but still within the regular system. So it can be after school hours as well. Once a child still lags behind, even in a more extreme fashion, they will get labeled care level 4 or 5, and then there's, of course, it's a small group. They will go to separate schools or specialized schools for that. As Bright Skills, we focus actually on support level 1 to 3. It's the largest group, and also that's the point where we can make the largest difference, because for 1 to 3, our learning tools, they can help those children lag behind within the regular system. If you really have level 4 and 5, you're talking about specialized care, and there are also other causes for learning difficulties than just dyscalculia or dyslexia. Next slide, please. So what kind of tools do we provide? Actually, yeah, we have mostly digital products. In math, arithmetic can go from the basic number comprehension, the basic understanding of math, to more advanced math. They also have other tools for that. Reading, both technical reading and comprehensive reading, we provide tools for that. Still all basic skills. Spelling, orthograph, obviously is strong in that field. Support tools also for language skills, like we have a tool for dyslexic children, which helps them to summarize the text, or the text can be read out in a certain way. And they also provide digital literacy tools, so children children understand computers, and that last the last product is more for a broader target group. Yes, we have identify different target groups for our products, for educational tools. In the Netherlands, you have a certain role within the school. Actually, all schools have this person. They are like an internal care counselor or a student progress supervisor, and they really track the progress of all the students. It's really separate from being a teacher. And once a student deviates from the norm, they will look into certain ways to help the student, also acquiring additional tools to help the students. So for us, this is a person we address for our care products like Calcularis or Orthograph, because they are the ones next to the school managers who look at it more to a financial way. They determine if the product gets acquired. IT admins obviously can also be important sometimes. And then we have also target groups which are more influencers within the school. So usually when we have a trial, we provide a trial to the school. The school teachers will use it. They don't make the final decision, but obviously they have a large say in should the school proceed using the tool. Parents and of course still the students and the children are extremely important. They have to feel the effect of the used tool. Next slide, yes. So a little bit go tangentially here on with regard to the customer journey, but basically in our approach to the market and to approach the target groups, we use this kind of journey. But first, we have to build the awareness in the target group. What's the problem? Is there something to be done to the problem? So, like for instance, years ago, dyscalculia was not really well known or not really a topic in Dutch education. So we really had to, educate them as well about dyscalculia and what can be done about it. So this awareness phase is actually quite important. And after the awareness phase, they understand there's a problem. They can look into solutions. So it's basically a discovery phase and look at certain channels. They have some options. They're gonna evaluate them, compare them, and then choose one. Hopefully ours. There's a dissection phase, and after that, you want to build your relation with the customer and try to have them become your ambassador for the products you have. That is basically reframing of the previous slide. So what do we use for our marketing approach? We use social media, mailing campaigns. See a spelling mistake there. Organic and SIA, the ads, the standard ads. But we also focus on really the niche platforms, on magazines that are specialized in the fields. For instance, Calcularis, we push the articles in the really specialized magazines for teachers who read these magazines, which really was a helpful thing to do. Our sales process is basically starts with a trial. So the school will start with a month free trial. They can try it out. Sometimes also give them the physical, but usually they do it online. They also provide an online demo of the tool. And then what's very important when they started this trial is you have to follow it up either by phone or by email, because often what happens is the school will apply for a trial and they will get the user credentials, but then they will never start the trial because they're just too busy. Like Christine also mentioned, there's a shortage, especially also in the Netherlands, of qualified teachers. They don't have a lot of time. They don't have a lot of capacity. So you really have to stimulate them to use it, to take some part of their daily hours for that. And then support is very important because you want to keep in contact with your target groups all the time and make sure that they can use the product as intended and keep on using it like that. Yeah, so like I said, we have partnership tools we use like Calcularis, Orthograph. We always want to be an exclusive distributor. Main reason is you want one clear vision, one clear message in the market. So if there are more, it doesn't, you get like a conflict of what you communicate, and it's very confusing. Also, of course, you don't want to race to the bottom in regard to pricing as well. This gives you way more control of how you approach your target groups. We localize, of course, obviously the tool and all the supporting materials in Dutch in this aspect. Of course, the producer, Constructor. We did work together with Constructor with regard to transliteration and translation. We provide first-line support as a distributor, so ask questions on how do I use the admin environment, the coaching environment, we can address directly. And the producer, in this respect, the Constructor, they'll provide the hard technical support if there's really a technical issue. I have to say, in the last couple of years, we didn't have any large issues. No, I cannot recall any issues that were like a really big issue. Some small things, but they'll get addressed quite quickly. So that's really nice to work with this kind of partner. And so we trial the products with potential customers, and we also like for a month. Also, if there's a new product, we also want to test it out and then get some valuable feedback from the market. This is very important. So our Constructor partnership, I think we go back, if I recall, to 2019. Was called Diebuster back then. Yeah, and we were looking into a solution for dyscalculia issues or challenges. So yeah, on that note, I found Diebuster Constructor. I found Christian, and we came into contact. And yeah, we actually had we saw a lot of potential also because Constructor Diebuster, they had a proven market success in Switzerland already. So they're already they've proven that the calcularis and autograph worked and had a large demand. There was also a niche mesh, like I said, we're looking for a solution in dyscalculia. In Netherlands, there were not really any other solutions, so that was really nice that they could provide a solution for us. Long-term commitment, exclusivity is important. Very important is the scientific base. Calcularis autograph are scientifically proven. This is a really strong USP also if you talk to schools. And also extremely important is you can work together, and the lines are quite short. You can hit each other up. There's always someone ready to answer your questions. So that's why we partner up with Constructor and still going strong. Next slide, please. Yeah, so specifically, actually, Christian already mentioned this, but let me reiterate. The calcularis autograph, they use an adaptive learning model. So the students, they will learn on their own speed and on their own skill level, which means they still get challenged, but also have some successes, which gives them confidence, which is very important. All our tools actually use an adaptive learning model, which is really effective, and also is a really good USP to schools. Multi-sensory learning model. So the calcularis autograph use audio, visuals, and text combined, which is a more effective way of learning. Scientific proof, or maybe you mentioned this, it's easy to use, easy to teach to schools. Of course, you always get some more digitally challenged teachers, but we can help them quite easily with those issues. It's not a really complex system in any case to use. It can be flexible, so you can use it in classroom setting, maybe on a large screen even, or small groups for care level 2, or individually for students at home. It is quite easy and flexible to use. And the admin and the coach environments are quite clear to give the teachers actionable insights in how the students progress and what still has to be done to reach a certain level. Currently, we provide, I think, about 150 schools in Netherlands and Dutch-speaking part of Belgium with calcularis and autograph. I have to say that calcularis also, we start early with calcularis in the Netherlands, but it's way more widely adapted than autograph. Also, this is because we were basically first to market with this dyscalculia solution. And for dyslexia, there were already lots of other tools in market. Additionally, for dyslexia, you really need a strong match with the primary teaching method in schools. which is while autograph is more method independent. So some schools, they're really looking for more for certain match with their current primary teaching method. While Calcularis is really is mild, so it's more concrete and specific for the students who are challenged in that field. So that's why we were able to sell Calcularis more than autograph. So it's really in a way it's a niche group, because in Netherlands schools have often it's a very saturated market. There are lots of primary teaching methods, large publishers who provide this primary method, but for those students who need extra care or have learning difficulties, they look for additional tools, and then we come in with, for instance, Calcularis autograph. So it's quite niche, but they have a high commitment. The schools, so they are quite loyal to stay and being customers, because they see the effects of the tools, which really help the students, of course. Yes. Oh yeah, of course, we have also additional revenue streams, not only the tools itself, but we also provide training sessions on site to the teachers. We provide guidance counseling for students with help of the tools. We also sometimes use the tools in this guidance counseling if the school acquired it, and we cross-sell with other learning materials we have. I think it's the last slide. Yeah. So what lessons did we learn over the years? For us, what's very important is that we focus on schools with students who need extra support. The care levels 2 and 3, students with learning difficulties, because in Netherlands, at least today, the schools have usually primary and teaching method. And Calcularis autograph, they function as extra learning materials for the group who need more care, which this is basically our approach, which worked the best for us. In education, probably it's in every country like this, but in Netherlands at least, customer decision project can take quite long. Teachers they don't have a lot of time, so it can be slow. They also have to talk to others, to the school managers, and like I said, they have this internal guidance counselor. Also have to is very important in decision making. But once they're a customer, they tend to be loyal. So we have to stay focused for the long term and follow it up consistently. Like I mentioned before, the free trials is good, but you have to follow them up, because sometimes you just don't start because you don't have time. You really have to follow it up and make sure that they understand the programs. It makes sense to call them right after they applied for the trial, and also after a while they applied for it after 3 weeks, for instance. You really call them again and help them on those issues. Maybe they have some issues or some questions. You can help them with that. That really helps. I also found that in the schools, they don't like commercial talk, so they don't. So they like to talk to other educational professionals, like persons who have previously worked in education, and then talk to them on the same level of understanding. And last but not least, the support and training is key. So you really have to make sure that they, of course, school, the persons will change, teachers will change. So you have to make sure that the new persons coming in also understand the tool, and make sure you'll get the recurring subscriptions. So I think that was my last slide.
Thank you very much, Daniel, for sharing your experience with us. Yes, we've known each other for almost 5 years, and it's been really been a truly fruitful relationship, and I'm looking forward to more years to come. Thank you for sharing today.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Daniel, also from my end for sharing really the valuable insights and approach. As I personally did also market research for education in worldwide, I really saw how not all markets are yet ready for the terms of inclusion or intervention, and slowly with all the education policies, it's coming up, but it's challenging. So we are really happy to have had the chance and continue to work with you in this field. So thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Now we go with the questions and answers. So if anyone has questions for our speakers, both for Daniel and Christian, make them now. And until then, I take one question from Lily, asking, will this presentation be listed after the session, as she would love to watch it again and find out more. So yes, it will be listed, and as soon as you have the link, you may access it anytime.
Yeah, I think that's generally what's up next, no, Denise?
Exactly. So if there are no further questions, and as we would like to keep it short and we got ahead of time, if you'd like to know more, please do reach out to me via email or schedule a meeting directly with me. We'll post the meeting link here in the chat, as well as the email. And yeah, we're looking forward to connecting with you all. And
Well,
yeah, we came to the end of our today's session. I truly thank you for joining us today, and looking forward to connecting and wishing you a great week ahead, and you, Daniel, to get better as well with
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you very much. Thanks for sharing. Have a good day, all of you. Bye
Have a
bye.
good day. Bye bye.